You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Ready to stand out, Army ROTC prepares you not only as a college student, but as a strong leader, allowing you to earn the rank of second lieutenant. You will be eligible for full tuition merit-based scholarships and develop leadership skills essential for your future. Start strong and enhance your college experience. Visit your campus Army ROTC representative today. To find out how you can earn up to a full tuition scholarship, visit goarmy.com/podcast to locate your closest ROTC program today. Army officers inspire, strengthen others. Paid for by the United States Army.
Hi, I'm Mike, founder of DollarShaveClub.com. What is DollarShaveClub.com? Well, for $1 a month, we send high-quality razors right to your door. Yeah, $1. Are the blades any good? No. Our blades are f***ing great. Each razor has stainless steel blades, an aloe vera lubricating strip, and a pivot head. It's so gentle a toddler could use it. And do you like spending $20 a month on brand name razors? 19 go to Roger Federer. I'm good at tennis. And do you think your razor needs a vibrating handle, a flashlight, a back scratcher, and 10 blades? Your handsome-ass grandfather had 1 blade and polio. Looking good, pop up! Stop paying for shave tech you don't need. And stop forgetting to buy your blades every month. Alejandro and I are going to ship them right to you. We're not just selling razors, we're also making new jobs. Alejandro, what were you doing last month?
Not working.
What are you doing now?
Working.
I'm no Vanderbilt, but this train makes hay. So stop forgetting to buy your blades every month and start deciding where you're going to stack all those dollar bills I'm saving you. We are DollarShaveClub.com, and the party is on.
I know karate, I know jiu-jitsu, I drive like a gangster when I'm coming to see you, see you.
The following program contains coarse language, adult themes, and warnings of the robot uprising. Listener discretion is advised.
The way I always do. How was I to know she was with the Russians too? I was gambling in Havana. I took a little risk. Send lawyers, guns, and money. Dad, get me out of this. How?
Uh-oh. Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody?
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Otherwise known as Chat Live's Better Night, right here live on KLRradio.com or during Toxic, what was known as HotMessRadio.com, because there were lots of technical issues. Anyway, I am one half of the crew, Mr. Rick Robinson. He's the other half. You may have heard him earlier joining us on Toxic, where he's a regular contributor. Everybody's favorite Amish lawyer, the banger of Moms Behind Circle K. Good evening, Mr. Packard, sir. How are you?
Yeah, I'm so bummed I made it. Apparently not, because there was a hot mess going into it. But I'm bummed that I was late. Because Nessa seemed like good fun, and I'm going to have to get to know her better. We all just started following each other. I mean, I guess Aggie knew her, but we all just started following each other like yesterday.
Yeah, I just saw the follow out of the middle of nowhere, and I'm like, who's this? And then all of a sudden Aggie's like, hey, I found a babe, and this is her. And I'm like, oh, that explains why she followed me out of the middle of nowhere. Then I went and I was trying to figure out who she was. I was like, do I know this person? And I saw her picture, and I was like, ooh, she got hot. I'm going to follow back. And then Aggie's like...
It's a cartoon.
Yeah. Well, no, she has an actual picture in there.
Okay.
You have to go look. But anyway. But yeah, so it's the same one that was on her Skype. It's not a cartoon. Anyway. Sorry. Anyway, so yeah. No, because of all the technical issues and everything else, assuming that nothing changes between then and now, because that will be really close to Thanksgiving, she is planning on coming back next month. So
cool.
We will see. Because I kind of feel like we owe her more time. But speaking of more time, it only took the house 3 weeks to find a speaker. 3 weeks.
I mean, we got one now.
Yeah, I almost. I mean, look, I'm not giving Matt Gaetz any credit because he did this with no plan. So he actually got lucky because he managed to actually land what looks like a potentially more conservative speaker than the one that we had. I knew absolutely nothing about this guy until I figured out he got the nomination. So I started doing some research. He was key in the amicus brief about the election denials, which to me seems kind of silly because the reason we didn't get Speaker Jordan or Speaker Scalise was because mostly the election stuff. And I'm like, so you leaned into that even further, and now this dude got unanimous vote? I'm confused. But all that being said, he actually, I don't know if you got a chance to hear his speech today that he gave right after he was sworn in. But first thing that I liked is as soon as he got sworn in, he was like, okay, so who's ready to govern? So they did the pro forma things to get those out of the way, which is basically the resolutions to the Senate and to the Vice President. Then he went to the microphone and basically, said, this is America's house. We're going to put America's needs first, and I don't feel like any of that's been happening for a while, and that's what we're going to start doing. And then he went on to say, and there's usually a lot of pomp and circumstance that goes around a new speaker being selected. We're going to stop all that right now, and we're going to, after this talk is over, we're going to go get to work. I was really kind of impressed by that. And then I'm looking at the dude, and I'm like, did we just fucking put Clark Kent in as the Speaker of the House? Because dude looks a lot like a slightly older, grayer Clark Kent. I'm just saying, did we just put Superman the Speaker of the House? Is that really what just happened? But anyway, considering I've been toying with the idea of moving down there, it's kind of awesome that the guy that is actually the congressman of a friend of mine that I've been getting to know is actually the Speaker of the House now. His record, what little bit I've seen of it, seems to be really, really conservative, so I may actually have to eat crow about some of the crap that I've been saying for the last 3 weeks, but I will not give Matt Gaetz any credit for this.
No, don't. I was going to say don't.
I will not give Matt Gaetz any credit for this. He did this without a plan, and he orchestrated the whole fucking thing. That's the part that pisses me off the most. I have been in arguments with people that I respect. Gene Baradelli, for one, who even today was like, okay, so how do you feel about Matt Gaetz now, Rick? I'm like, I reserve the right to potentially eat my crow later once I can see if this is actually going to make any difference or not.
Even retarded people do the right thing from time to time.
It's kind of like,
for the wrong reason.
It's kind of like a broken clock. Even they're right twice a day.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
speaking of broken clocks, I was reading while eating between the shows. Falling ass backwards into success. The ACLU has filed an amicus brief to in support of Trump in regards to the gag order on the J6 hearing.
Wait, what?
Yeah, the ACLU.
I did not see this yet. Wait, did CERN fire up again and I missed it? I'm confused.
Yeah, no, the ACLU has filed a brief in favor of former President Trump. Yes, you actually read that correctly. Wednesday urged the judge overseeing former President Trump's federal 2020 election criminal case in D.C. to reevaluate her gag order, arguing it's unconstitutionally overbroad and vague.
Well, it's like today. Dude got hit with a $10,000 fine for violating the gag order after he specifically told the judge he was talking about Cohen, not anybody affiliated with the court. And the judge basically looked at him and said, "Fuck you, I don't believe you, $10,000, please." I'm like, what? What?
Now I'm going to talk about the court.
No, he's not going to have to because now everybody else is. I'm like, what the fuck? You have the guy on the stand. You ask him the specific question of who were you referencing? Was it me? Because if it's me, I don't really care. But you're not going to talk about any of my staff. He's like, no, Your Honor, I was talking about Cohen, my former attorney. He's like, I find you non-credible, and you now owe $10,000. I'm like, first of all, that's like asking me to pay $10, so fuck you. Second of all, what the hell? This is now the second time this judge has smacked him for violating a gag order, and everybody's looking at it going, I get it. Everybody, dude, he's a pathological liar. We all know this. We've known this for forever. We knew this when he stepped off the escalator. he was friends with all these people till he said, "Oh, I'm going to run as a Republican." Now they want him dead. The thing that pisses me off about all of this, and this is just watching it all unfold and now seeing everything that we have now figured out from COVID and everything else. This was a step-by-step political assassination. He's the only one that hasn't figured it out yet.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, I mean, there is a point you're so far up your own ass you can't anyway.
I'm just looking at it going, I mean, we now know that there was some sort of human intervention that helped create COVID. We now know that our own agencies were involved in the research that helped create COVID. The only thing we don't know for sure is how the hell it got out of the lab. But when you find out the guy that was in charge of all of this is the guy they put in charge to clean it up, and even after it came out that he was in charge of it, dude got a fucking presidential medal. Something ain't right. I don't know who got paid off. I don't know what happened. I don't know who promised Trump whatever. But by the President Trump by the end of his term was not the President Trump from the beginning of his term. Because President Trump, when all that shit started, if this was President Trump from 2016, 2017, and all the shit started coming out about, the fact that the hydroxychloroquine and everything else actually worked, and they were basically telling everybody, pay for this $4,000 shit instead of $30 worth of pills, he would have been, the 2017 Trump would have been flipping fucking tables.
Yeah. Well, that's because he got on the inside.
But that's I guess that's my only concern at this point, because for the first time in a long time it seemed like we had somebody that was going to go in and try to make a difference, and we watched him basically go from, and just to put a sci-fi spin on it, we watched him go from Jean-Luc Picard to Locutus in 4 years. No.
Dave Chappelle nailed it, because he, when he was talking about Trump, he's all, Trump has always been one of them. He's always, he and what he did was you see the shit these corrupt motherfuckers do? We've been doing it all along. I'm one of them. I'm just telling you that we're doing it to your face.
Well, that's the other thing that drives me crazy. He's getting in trouble right now. The stuff that he's going through right now is the same shit that every other rich person on the fucking planet does. And I know this because now they've gotten to the point where they let middle-class people do it. I hate to tell you this, but the only reason I was able to get the new car, well, it's not new anymore, but it was new when I bought it. It was a 2021, and we bought it towards the tail end of 2020, so it was the newer model that was coming out. The only reason I was able to get the car that I'm currently driving right now is because the person that was helping me fill out the paperwork said, "Oh, just fudge on those numbers right there. They don't check them." It's the same thing he's in trouble for. And they told me to do it. I can't with these people, because everybody knows how broken the system is. Everybody knows that it's rich people that can hire the accountants and get the staff behind them to take full advantage of our 30,000 fucking page tax code. And all of these Americans are like, "See, I told you he was breaking the law." Motherfucker, you're breaking the law every time you file taxes, because there's so much in that tax code. Unless you're paying somebody else to do it for you and paying them hundreds of dollars, you're violating the tax code somehow. They just don't care, because most of the time they have to give you money back anyway.
Right.
It's fucking stupid. But the thing about it is, and I said this on Rails, like it or not, right now he's still, projected to be the runaway nominee. But the further some of this goes on, and the more people that flip on him, the less of a path I see of any way for him to go forward. I mean, and something else that made no sense to me, because I know they've been making noise about trying to keep him off the ballot. I wasn't aware that Biden was being primaried, but I guess he supposedly is or something, because New Hampshire or somewhere was keeping him off the primary ballot. I'm like, why is there even a primary? I'm confused. Anyway, I got nothing there. I don't know. I don't know enough about how New Hampshire politics works. But what I do know is the entire world is a mess. The person who was supposed to keep us away from World War III is the one that's driving us towards World War III. And he's sitting on his hands while we now know that 33 Americans were killed by Iranian proxies.
Right.
And now the Iranian proxies in other places are lobbing projectiles towards bases where our people are stationed. I again never thought I would say this sentence, but I'm going to say it again. I miss Emperor Hirohito, because at least when Iran fucked around when he was in office, he said fuck it, take the dude out, killed Soleimani, and then he basically said, hey Iran, if you're feeling froggy, go ahead and do it again. I got 52 targets picked out already, so just go ahead. And they set the fuck down for 3 years.
Yeah, and I got into several fights on Twitter over. I know, shocking, right?
You never.
Yeah, and again, not being a Trump fan, but still wouldn't be the whole Trump was Putin's puppet. It's like, okay, nobody has been more antagonistic towards Putin than Trump in the last
Since
20
Reagan.
years.
I'm going to go further back. Ain't nobody has been so basically antagonistic towards Russia as a whole since Reagan. I mean, Reagan was the one that did the whole slip and said, hey, in 5 minutes our bombers are launching.
And it's like, and I just showed chapter and verse on how, we were competing with them in the oil front, how we were just absolutely destroying Russian mercenaries in Syria who tried to fuck with, on every possible way, showing how the United States was antagonizing Russia, just calling their bluff. Because I've said for a long time, Russia's just a paper tiger. They can't even keep their Blue Water Navy afloat. The flagship of the Russian Blue Water Navy cannot stop catching on fire. So they're a paper tiger. Yeah, they're a threat to Ukraine, but they're a regional threat. It's not like they can project out anymore. I don't even know if their nuclear missiles even work anymore. So I don't have the concerns for – yeah, okay, you know what? They are a pain in the ass on the cyber front. We covered this a lot on Cyber Chill and Cyber Wars. They're an absolute pain in the ass in cyberspace. And they can do a lot of damage. Again, just attacking their neighbors, though. Occasionally they'd run an op on us. But generally, they just kept turning off the lights in Ukraine.
So are we sure that's not what happened to your power today?
Yeah, right. That was weird. The whole county. I mean, the whole county went out.
Yeah, no, you told me, and then you were like, "Hey, my power's back on," and then by the time you had sent me a link, I'd already been trying to call you.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, I mean, so just to go back around to your neck of the woods. So how does it feel to know that your governor is currently trying to reset race relations between China and America, all on his own, and he said as much today.
There's an act that prohibits this.
Oh, I know.
But since rules don't fucking apply anymore, I mean, the mayor of New York City can go to Gaza or whatever the fuck she's doing over there. I don't care.
Yeah. All I'm gonna say is it's different.
I can't say what I want to say.
Yeah, you can.
No, I can't.
Yeah, you can.
No, I can't. This gets knocks on the doors, not just letters. So, no, I can't. But I'm actually amazed that we're not shooting yet.
Oh, give it time. I mean, there's an entire naval group from China headed to the Middle East.
No. I don't mean militaristically. We went to war over a 5% increase on a breakfast beverage.
Well, that's because they've conditioned us to not do that anymore over time. That's like this whole thing that's going on right now. Where I talked about this, I think it was last week on America Off the Rails. I don't know who came up with the idea that you have to let somebody swing first, but that's fucking bullshit. But it's something that was taught even as far back as my dad was like, you better not ever start it, but you better be the one to finish it. And I got to thinking about it when I started having kids. I was like, wait a minute. If somebody's coming at you aggressively, you don't have to wait for them to fucking swing. You back up and say, look, if you keep coming at me, I'm going to knock you the fuck out. And if they keep coming at you, then you just knock them the fuck out. That's where we are. We are literally dealing with an administration who is, as my kid's principal put it to him when he got got suspended for knocking a kid's tooth out because he wouldn't stop fucking with him. He should have just armadilloed and waited for help. That is how the Biden administration is running our entire foreign policy. Just armadillo and wait for help, and then help never comes.
Wait for braver countries than us. Oh, there are none.
I can't with this because, and this is something that came up during Rails and a few times before. What I can't seem to make anyone that was raised in Western culture understand is these people do not have the same values and mores that we do. They just don't. We value life. They don't. They look at dying for Allah as their ultimate goal because that's what assures them paradise and gives them 72 Virgils. And I said what I said. Because I'm pretty sure that was mistranslated. I'm pretty sure there's going to be 72 big-ass buff guys named Virgil going, "We're here for you, buddy." Anyway, I can't with this because it's like nobody wants to understand it. That's like just before I went on the air, and I think that may be part of the reason why we ran a bit long because I did that before I brought her in. Just before I went on the air, there was a story about a college that was protesting, and they found out there were Jewish students in the building. Security rushed the Jewish students to the library, locked the doors, and called the cops. These supposed kids are pounding on the door and trying to get in because they know there are Jewish students in there. This is not protesting anymore. This is now terrorism. And what makes me the most angry is I've seen or heard reports that when the cops got there, the cops refused to get involved because, well, it's just a protest. If that's true, and I haven't been able to confirm that one way or the other, but if that's true, if I were the parents of those kids, I would be suing that police department. I would be suing the school, suing the parents of those kids, suing the kids, all of it, because technically they're adults too. I would be slapping lawsuits on every fucking body. I mean, come on, they're Jewish. You know they know how.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Oof.
I can't with this anymore because I mean, and this is one of the reasons why I'm kind of glad we do finally have a speaker again, because for 3 weeks we've been leaving on the table the fact that the Democratic Party is basically eating itself, because you have the super left-leaning part of the Democratic Party that absolutely thinks Israel needs to be destroyed, and they're not hiding it anymore. And we've been too busy going, oh, look, we can't figure out who our speaker needs to be.
But, okay. I was kind of okay because, they can't spend any money and they can't write any laws.
Well, this is true, and I do have to admit, like I said, and I don't remember if I said this on the air or not, I'm kind of still on the fence. Dude on paper looks amazing. He was actually heavily involved in the amicus brief over the election issues for 2020. He's actually been involved in filing some other amicus briefs regarding, the masks and everything else. So, dude really comes across as uber conservative. The problem is, most of the time, once they get to a certain point, it stops mattering, and all they start figuring out how to do is be in it for themselves, and that's what we keep running into over and over and over again. And but before anybody starts screaming at me, I was no huge fan of McCarthy either. I just knew what I was seeing, and that's basically Matt Gaetz kept heading him into a corner over and over and over again, and then running to the microphone saying, "See, I told you he was the wrong choice. He's not doing anything he said he was going to do." You're not letting him. You and the other 7 people that you decided to gang up on him with, along with all the Democrats, were pretty much stopping anything he ever tried to start doing. Which is one of the reasons why, since this guy got a actual 220 vote, I'm hoping shit like that doesn't happen anymore. As long as what he's trying to do makes sense. I don't think nobody needs to railroad through anything. But part of the reason why we started getting the shitty deals that we were getting is because when McCarthy tried to do appropriations, Matt Gaetz said no, over and over and over again. And then would just randomly call a press conference and be like, "See, he told us he was going to start doing this from day one. We haven't even started yet." You're not telling everybody the rest of the story, Matt. That was one of the things that pissed me off about McCarthy. Why did you wait until they stabbed you in the back to go to the microphone and be like, "Oh, by the way, the same 8 people that just helped get me ousted were the same 8 people along with the Democrats stopping me from doing my job in the first place?" Which is why I had to start doing all the other shit just to try to get things done. Why wait until they fucking Julius Caesared you to say that? Why?
Exactly.
Why? But as soon as dude ran to the microphone, I'd be like, look, America, you got to understand something. I've already called for these appropriations to start like 3, 4, or 5 times. And because you guys saw it today. Even for the pro forma shit, but somebody had to stand up, had to call for it and make a motion. So, and that's just the pro forma shit. So imagine how hard it is to actually get anything done when part of your caucus, when you already have a 5-seat majority and 8 of your caucus are against you. How is the dude ever supposed to get anything done? That was my only issue with all of it. I'm like, you guys don't seem to want to understand that Gates engineered all of this. Gates was the one that put in the one-person threshold to be able to put in a recall. And then he basically blocked everything and ran to a microphone. I told you guys he was the wrong choice. I told you guys he was the wrong choice. Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. What I do know is that even with his back against the wall, dude managed to stop a 12-month omnibus bill that the Senate was trying to push. So, was it great? No. Was it terrible? Sometimes. But again, when you only have a 5-seat majority, I don't really know how much having uber conservative Mike Johnson's going to make a difference, because he's going to have to make deals somewhere, and somebody's not going to like him.
Sure.
Because we don't have the majority in the Senate. And that's the part that I can't ever seem to make anybody understand. With a slim majority, you can't keep pounding on your chest going, we have the majority. No, you have the majority in one part of the House, or you have the majority in the House, which is one of the chambers. And it's a slim majority. You still have to figure out how to get the Democratic Senate to go along with you. And from what I saw, I don't think it's going to happen, because that's just like today. Johnson tried to reach across the aisle and said, look, what the hell is it? To Hakeem Jeffries. He's like, I know that you're an American, I know you love your country, and we're going to have to figure out a way to work together. Hakeem Jeffries immediately took to Twitter, calling him the most MAGAist House Speaker we've ever had, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. I'm like, this is not going to work well. But again, short of, being 20 days from the government shutting down again, I don't know. I mean, my life wasn't necessarily that impacted over us not having a speaker, other than the fact that the entire Republican Party looked like a clown show for 3 weeks.
Well, as opposed to...
I know, but still.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know. I just hate how unified the Democratic Party is in front of the cameras, and how they will fucking stab each other in the back off camera. I wish our party could figure that out, because if we could at least present a unified front when people are watching, that would be, well, I say our party. Neither one of us are actually even fucking Republicans, so I guess I should stop saying that. Anyway.
No, they only operate. They only want to be the opposition party because they don't want to take responsibility for anything.
Well, and that's the other thing that kind of drives me crazy, right? Because if you rewind to 2017, when he was actually sworn in, we had both parts of both houses of Congress and him, and he still only ever really managed to get anything done by executive order. Why? I mean,
I'm concerned anytime anybody wants government to get something done.
Yeah, but I mean, there were things that desperately needed to get done. Like the one thing that I think needs to be relooked at is we went from repealing Obamacare to repealing and replacing Obamacare. Fuck that. Don't replace it. Nuke it. Just make it go away. Cause I remember when I was told it was going to save average American families $2,500 a month. It's costing average American families $8,000 a month.
Yeah.
It ain't made anything better. You want to know one of the primary drivers of inflation? That's been it. Nobody's talking about that. Because the cost for that have slowly driven everything else up. And it's just like everything else. The government I'm from the government. I'm here to help. They started trying to give people grants and shit so they could go to school, because the new American dream was go to college, become a lawyer, become a doctor. Now it's $100,000 fucking dollars to go to a 2-year community college, and you have to have government help to be able to afford it. And then once the government starts paying for it, the colleges are like, hey, we can charge out the ass now. That's like once the government became involved, did you notice that it basically became grades 13, 14, 15, and 16? Because,
Sure.
you know, after you do all your general studies in high school, you were supposed to be able to go to college and get a more specialized degree. Now they still want you to do math classes in college and reading classes in college and all this other shit that ain't got a fucking thing to do with your degree.
Electives, and you have to do a sport, and you have to, yeah.
I mean,
I took fencing.
it's literally now high school 2.0.
Sure.
Sorry, Ron.
And you notice how every example you gave is once government got involved in it.
Yeah, I mean,
Which brings me back to, I'm okay with government not doing anything.
Well, I mean, I'm okay with government doing what government is supposed to do. We need to get back to that because the government really only used to have like 3 charters. That's what we need to get back to. All of this extra bullshit, all these things that we have, this overbloated administrative level for everything. That's just like, you know, we've talked about this before. If you, as the supposed head of the executive branch, can't fire the people that are within the executive branch, do you work for them or do they work for you? Because it kind of feels like it's the first one. I'm just saying. There are so many things that are ass backwards in this country, and that's what I want, is somebody to actually start fixing it, cutting away all of the bullshit. That's what Trump told us he was going to try to do, and then he didn't. And what little bit he managed to do, he got done through executive order, and then the Supreme Court at the time was like, oh, you know, you can't roll back any of Obama's stuff, even though every other president was able to come in and wipe away executive orders. Hell, the president that came after Trump, Joe Biden, was able to wipe away pretty much all of Trump's executive orders. But Obama's were sacred. You couldn't touch those. This is part of why, again, I kind of agree with you. I'm surprised we're not shooting yet.
Yeah.
But again, they've conditioned us not to. We now spend most of our time in front of an idiot box. I'm just as guilty, so I'm not throwing any stones. That's one of the things that I've been trying to do. And the weirdest thing is, I've noticed that anymore, unless it's watching news or something, because I kind of have to keep up with it, if I don't have music or something on, I'm not motivated to fucking do anything. I don't know if they're putting like subliminal messages now out in TV or whatever, but it's like as soon as I try to turn something on, it's just like, I don't want to move anymore. Let's just watch this.
Yes, they do.
I don't know. Either that or movies like Iron Eagle have been way more influential in my life than I thought, because I'm like, I never even feel right anymore if I'm trying to work without music on. I don't get it, but anyway. That's how I finally started getting shit done yesterday. I finally just stood out in front of the computer and turned music on. And I was like, okay.
That's kind of what you have to do.
Let's get shit done. You've been being lazy for 3-4 days. It's time to get shit done.
I can't even get back on my 31 days of Boingo. I am just so slammed at work. I mean, well, it's like tonight. Came right in from the job, 5-minute shower, right on, then the power came back on. I was like, woohoo, cool. And then, notified, because I was waiting just in case the power came back. So, but yeah, can't even tweet my 31 days of Boingo.
Yeah, well.
I'm going to have to catch up. I told my boss, look, I've got to do a lot of winter shit to prep for. I need to. I know we're short-handed and I know everything, but I need 2 weekend days this weekend. I just have to. Well, you don't ever have to work on weekends. I just offer it to you and you take it. I'm like, well, yes, because I know if I don't do it on Sunday, then it has to be, or Saturday, it has to be done on Tuesday. That sucks worse. So.
I still think.
But I do love my job. I really do love my job. I mean, I'm working my ass off, but.
I just think it's funny that he was like, it's voluntary. You don't have to work. I just offer it to you.
Yeah.
See, my bosses back in the day knew better than to say that to me, because as soon as they said it's voluntary, I was like, fuck it, I'm out. Bye.
But you see, that's when you love your job, it's not really work. So it's like, oh, you mean you want to pay me double time to do what I was probably going to do anyway, just I do it in a bigger vehicle now. So I was planning on going down there to get lunch this weekend anyway. Now I get to do it on the company dime and the company vehicle.
Oh, that reminds me
So
that reminds me of that old rhyme.
what's that?
For every dollar my boss makes, I make a dime, and that's why I poop on company time.
Written in every bathroom door, along with poop alone or poop with friends.
Oh, so yeah, apparently I missed a lot while I was producing. I guess there was some sort of a shooting that happened.
I'm just hearing about this too. Yeah.
I don't know. So mass shooting, I get, well, of course, that's from Ian Miles Chong, so we're going to keep scrolling. Never mind.
No, but no, I saw it in the Chat Lives Matter DM too, so. But it wasn't just linked to, yeah.
Yeah,
So
well, that
John
was...
Kent.
Oh, go ahead.
What's that?
Go ahead. Sorry.
You know what? I was going to talk about this, but I'm going to talk about something much more interesting. Bud Light paid $100 million to be the exclusive beer of the UFC in 2024.
Did they get sharks with freaking lasers in the deal or no?
Apparently.
Because
and of course, all the comments are: does that mean Dylan Mulvaney's going to be the new ring girl?
Oh God, I hope not.
But you think about it. So Bud Light is absolutely unsalvageable as a brand. It's okay. Let me rephrase that. Bud Light continues to make themselves unsalvageable as a brand because they won't do the one thing that needs to be done. Apologize. They just won't do it because they're afraid of pissing off the 0.001% of the population, as opposed to shit. You mentioned 50% of the population was drinking Bud Light prior to this whole thing. So because they won't do the one thing that needs to be done, their brand is forever toxic. And what I love is that every brand that they touch, they're going to drag down with them. And UFC said, yes, give me more of that, please. I know they're struggling and $100 million looks good, but that's a miscalculation.
Well, I mean, the other thing is, so I actually flipping because you know me. Normally, I rotate through news channels, and last night I happened to be, I turned off CNN, and the next one on the dial was Fox, and I came across Hannity, and that's what caught my attention was because I caught him right as he was doing the tease for the break. He's like, when we come back, we'll have Dana such and such from UFC to explain why Bud Light is now their exclusive partner. Like, okay, fine, I'll fucking listen to it. What the fuck ever. So the guy's on there, and he's like, I know everybody has this big deal over the Mulvaney thing and this, that, and the other, but it's like everybody forgot all the good stuff that they've done, and that's what I want to focus on, and that's why. I mean, the thing about it is that yeah, it's a $100 million deal, but it's also a 6-year contract. They are now basically married to each other for the next 6 years. And
Which is funnier because that's longer than either of my marriages lasted.
Well, yeah.
So
if it wasn't for the trips behind the Circle K, just kidding. But no. So I'm just sitting here thinking, I wonder which one of them is going to sink first because that's a really long fucking contract.
Yeah.
I mean, because I don't again, but granted, they've now signed on to the UFC. Look, we're all about masculinity again. No, fuck you, dude. You still haven't done the one thing you needed to do and been like, hey, look, we fucked up. It's really that simple. And this is the one thing that I don't understand with people. I mean, I said the same thing when Donald Trump was president, when everybody started, coming after him with all this shit. Stop telling everybody you didn't fucking do it. And if nothing else, at least pull a Bill Clinton. Yeah, I fucking did it, but I didn't inhale. Everybody knew he was full of shit, but they laughed it off. Because he was basically admitting to it. This is the thing that I can't... I mean, I've had the same conversation with my kids. When you fuck up, just come to me and talk about it, and we will figure it out together. But if I'm suddenly having to deal with people coming at me sideways because of shit you've decided to keep from me, then we're going to have a problem. This is kind of what all of America was expecting from Bud Light. Look, we tried something, it didn't work out, y'all are pissed, we get it, we're gonna fix it. Really would have been that simple. But this isn't gonna be enough. They've already lost so much money that they've been laying everybody off. $100 million is a drop in the bucket to what they fucking lost.
Yeah. I know. Billions.
I mean, we're literally talking about a company that lost billions in like a week. Their share price
and continues to.
I mean, they were literally hemorrhaging money within like a week to the point where they started laying off hundreds of people. And this $100 million, while it looks great on paper, and me and you were going, can I just get like 10% of that? That would be awesome. For them, it ain't shit. That's not even like 2% of what they've lost. Is it enough to salvage the brand? I don't think so, because honestly, to me, it seems. I mean, I used to like to watch the UFC. I really don't anymore.
Yeah,
it was cool for a while because it was new. Now it's turned into wrestling's younger brother, and it's just not as cool anymore.
No.
I think that's one of the reasons why he's like, hey, let's do this. I think maybe he thought it would, rescue both brands. I don't think it's going to help. If anything,
no, it is not.
I think they're going to drag each other down because I don't know. I mean, well, the other thing is, we now live in a society where words are violence, so most people aren't watching fights anymore anyway.
No, they're arguing on Twitter because words are violence.
Same people that 6 months ago, where words are violence, is now chanting from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. You realize that's a G-rated call for genocide, right?
They do not.
No, they don't. You know why? Because not a single one of them can find anything with Israel on a fucking map. Yeah, the other thing that I thought was hilarious, and I saw this just before we came on the air. I don't even remember who it was, but some dude was like, okay, that's it. I've had enough. I'm taking my wife and my kids, and we're going to go find somewhere to live that supports Palestine. We're leaving America. I'm like, who supports an imaginary country?
Right. Have fun in Bahrain.
I didn't get a response, but I was like, who supports an imaginary country? Just curious. Oh.
It's not a real place.
Palestine is the Delaware of the Middle East.
Okay, so if you don't know why it's called Palestine, it's this is absolute pettiness on the part of Hadrian, the Roman Emperor Hadrian, is that because the Jews kept revolting, so he changed the name of Judea to disassociate them from the land, and changed it to Heirs Palestine, which it was just it's like naming West Virginia Appalachia. It's just it's a geographic region. It has nothing to do with anyway. So that's just absolute pettiness on why Palestine. Everybody can Palestine's a place because the Romans called it that. Yeah, before the Romans came along, it was still known as Judea.
Well, the other thing is the reason, and this is the part that most people that aren't scholars don't get, is one of the reasons why he changed the name to what he changed it to is that is actually a derivative of the word Philistine, which is a major insult to a Jew.
Well, yeah, and also, yeah, the Romans didn't have a word for Philistine. They couldn't. Anyway, it's complicated.
But yeah, so basically, that basically became the Roman word for Philistine, which for those of you who don't know, was like a major insult to a Jew. So it was kind of that multi-layer thing, kind of like Hamas calling themselves Hamas because in their language it means hero fighter, in Hebrew it means death. Double entendre much? Probably. Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, the whole thing is a mess, and all I know is as long as we keep projecting weakness to these people, we are going to keep getting our asses handed to us one way or the other. Because they do not think the way that we think, and we are currently being run by people on both sides who have this idea of Western incrementalism, which is basically if we just expose them to Western culture a little bit at a time and show them there's a better way, eventually they're going to agree with us. Problem is, we tried that in Russia. Did it work?
Nope.
Not really. We tried it with China. Did it work?
Nope.
We've been trying it with the Middle
Though,
East.
in all fairness, China did have to open up free market zones because, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's still, if anything, China is a lot more akin to a socialist country now than a communist country, but it's still not incremental enough. But the reason I bring those two up first is because we've been trying this process with the Middle East for much, much longer. And it ain't working there either.
No.
Because they hate us. And until we come to terms with that, and when I say they hate us, I don't necessarily mean every person of Middle Eastern descent, but until they prove to me they don't hate me, I'm going to assume they do. Because
That's a safe bet.
that's the smartest way to behave. When you keep extending a hand of friendship to people and they keep trying to chop it off, it's time to assume that they all hate you until they prove otherwise. And that's why...
Did you just call me a white devil? It's how they know you.
Well, it's like the other day, right? So I had somebody, because I put out, when the protests started up again, I was like, that's it. Every student needs to get an incomplete, run their backgrounds. If they are on visas or they're illegal, send them the fuck back where they came from. If they're citizens, put them through the J6 treatment. So then some idiot named Muhammad, who's apparently a former Marine and an attorney, was like, you don't even know what the fuck you're talking about, blah, 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 blah. And then starts telling me all these things, and I'm like, look, dude, you have USMC in your Twitter handle. So unless you are lying, you swore an oath. And unlike every other branch of service, as a Marine, once you take that oath, it never actually fucking goes away. That's in their credo. Once a Marine, always a Marine. So you took an oath, and now you're taking up for terrorist sympathizers. So I think that's the reason why you're coming at me so hard. Is so you can look yourself in the mirror because you don't want to face the fact that you have betrayed your oath to this country, and you are currently sympathizing with terrorists because of where you came from. That's a you problem, not a me problem. And dude just kept trying to go on for over an hour, and I finally just muted him. I was like, look, dude, I'm done. I was like, you know what? If you were a Marine, great, Semper Fi, get the fuck out my mentions. And that was it, and I muted him. But it's just watching all these people. I mean, that's like, and we've said this on this show and every other show since this has started, the Alphabet Mafia actually pulling for legitimate Middle Eastern Nazis is fucking retarded. These people will throw you off a roof the first chance they get. The only reason you can do that is because you're here. Go there and stand up for Palestine and see what the fuck happens to you.
Yeah, I love the Queers for Palestine. That's just...
You know what it is? They're basically letting everyone know that they hate themselves even more than the Muslims.
Right.
Because you're basically agreeing to be suicided if you get what you want.
Yeah.
I can't with that. That's like the Jewish Americans here that are all these not in my name protests. Dude, it ain't your fucking name. You're over here. You're safe. We're talking about the people that are over there. But the fact that you are genetically, kin to these people, and you're rooting for the other side that has been trying to wipe you off the map. But an interesting point about that Jess brought up today, because I didn't really think about this. The reason why a lot of the more Orthodox Jews are okay with Palestine trying to wipe out Israel is because since in their eyes the Messiah hasn't returned yet, it's not time for Israel to be reestablished yet.
I have nothing to say about that.
It was an angle that I hadn't really thought of before, and I was like, you know what, that kind of makes sense, because if you look, it was always, Israel would return, at the time of the Messiah, or after the Messiah had come and done his thing. Eventually, the kingdom would be restored, and then he would return shortly thereafter. But then I'm also thinking, if that's the case, there's a lot of Jews apparently missing a memo, because wouldn't that mean that if anyway? Yeah, I'm not going down that rabbit hole tonight. This is not Rick Preacher night. but still, I'm just like,
save it for Thursday.
Shouldn't that have been a signal flare? I'm just saying. Anyway, so damn, believe it or not, we're already almost to the end.
Yeah, we even blasted through our "Hey, what are you watching?" thing.
Well, we got a few minutes because we started late. So what are we watching?
I watched Starship Troopers last night.
Dude, I rewatched that a couple months ago. I still really love that movie.
I mean, it's okay. So the layers of it, especially if you understand what Hyman was going for with the books and everything, even though that was kind of like hey, let's get all the sexy tweens from this time period and into a sci-fi movie, and nobody really knows what the underlying message is. They really delivered the message very well.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, it's an amazing movie. Actually, and like I said, I just rewatched it a couple months ago. There was actually a couple of animated ones that I hadn't watched yet that were actually fairly decent, too. I don't remember where I found them. I think it was...
I forgot Jolene Blaylock was in 3.
Yeah. I was like, wait a minute, I know her. Yeah, I kind of, a few months ago, I kind of went down a rabbit hole and started watching all of them that I could find. There was like...
3 was okay. 2 was fucking terrible. 3 was okay. For straight to video, hey, let's milk this rock a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah, no. And like I said, some of the animated ones were actually fairly decent too. I was kind of surprised how much I actually liked those. They were shorter. It was like an hour, and one was like an hour and 15. The other one was an hour and 20. But for being animated, they were fairly decent.
Yeah.
I don't know. So,
I just discovered there was an animated Stargate series.
I have been hearing the same thing. I haven't been able to find it yet, though.
It's I saw it popped up when I was watching Stargate the other night. So you might also like where it had Atlantis universe, because I was watching it on Prime, and it had Atlantis universe and the animated series, and I didn't even know it was a thing.
Yeah, no, I hadn't either. Somebody was telling me.
Also,
about it.
drink.
Yeah. We did mention Stargate, so it's time to drink. Speaking of sci-fi, this is not movie related, but I was really surprised to find this out the other day. Actually, I found it yesterday, and I've been looking into it, and it's probably going to be one of the first games I buy in a long time. Chris Roberts has been working on a new title forever. It's called Squadron 42.
Yeah, Squadron 42 is actually tied into Star Citizen. I backed that 10 years ago. I have given over $1,000 in donations to kickstart this game. 10 fucking years, and it's still in alpha.
Well,
I know all of you. Squadron 42 is the single player version. Star Citizen is the MMO.
Yeah,
and Squadron 42 is I it looks great on paper. It's John Rhys-Davies, Mark Hamill, everybody from the Wing Commander series. The reason why he's doing it Star Citizen in the way he is because he can't get the rights from Wing Commander from Origin Games.
Well, yeah. So that was the first thing I thought of because so I'm watching one of the YouTube things, right? Because the single player version's in the polished stage now, which means they're going through and making sure that everything works right. There's no broken shit. All pretty works the way it's supposed to. So he started showing some of the stuff, and the first thing it shows what looks a lot like one of the first ships that you fly in Wing Commander flying through the Vega sector. And
the Gladius, yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's talking about the Imperial Earth Navy, and I'm like, what? I thought it was Terran Navy.
So you watched this you watched the Citizen Con video, didn't you?
I don't actually remember which one it was.
Right now they have Citizen Con going on, which is all the stars. It's a convention for Star Citizen. I was going to go to one 5 years ago, and then I'm actually glad I didn't because anyway, I'm not down on the game. I backed the fuck out of it. Okay, I'm a Centurion, whatever. I'm just frustrated because in true Chris Roberts fashion, he is 5 years late from his promised release date.
Yeah, I get that, and honestly, I would probably be more mad about it if I had even known it was a thing. But when I figured out that he was basically, the thing about it is, and again, part of it's being redone because he can't get the Wing Commander rights from Origin. But just from what I've seen in a little bit that I was able to watch today, because the other thing that annoys me is if I push something to my TV, as soon as it plays an ad, I lose it, and then I have to start over, and it pisses me off. And I hate signing into YouTube on my Roku because it's annoying. So normally if I'm trying to watch something and I want a bigger screen, I'll push it to my TV, but then they've got so much ads on everything anymore that as soon as an ad plays, I have to start over, and I'm all kinds of pissed. But the little bit I was able to see, this is going to be a lot more of an in-depth concept than Wing Commander was.
Oh, absolutely.
So I'm actually, with it, dude, I absolutely loved the Wing Commander series. Like, my senior year in high school, I spent my entire Christmas break, like, hopped up on coffee and shit, to the point where I was playing. There was one day I was playing for like 2 days straight, and my mom was laughing her ass off because my alarm went off, and the alarm clock that I had at the time sounded exactly like the alert klaxon from the game. So I'm like jumping up, going, "What the fuck?" And my mom's coming in the room like, "What are you screaming about?" And I'm like, for about half a second, I thought I was somewhere else. She's like, you were dreaming about that fucking game, weren't you? The one that I told you shouldn't be playing all the time. I'm like, I reserve the right.
Absolutely.
I reserve the right to not incriminate myself. Rolled over and went back to sleep.
Another great series of games, also by Chris Roberts, and it was Privateer, and that was the seamy underbelly of the Wing Commander universe. That's where you could engage in hauling drugs and slave trade, and it was the whole dark side without the whole noble war going on where you're fighting the big space cats. This was the disturbing kind of like early sex and video games kind of video game thing too.
Yeah,
great series.
Yeah, no, I didn't find that one until much later, and by then I was just like, yeah, not as cool as I thought it was going to be. Because
I actually liked it.
Well, no, I mean, the game itself, the concept was awesome. It was just one of those ones where I managed to find it on a free bulletin board somewhere, and it just...
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, no, so I'm honestly really excited. I'm like, this may be the first video game I buy in forever. Just because, especially when I saw Mark Hamill and John Rhys Davies, it's like, holy shit, he's like bringing the entire cast back together and just doing it in a slightly varied way.
If you could have gotten Malcolm McDowell too, then yeah.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, so I was just excited to even see that it was a thing. And the funny thing is, it popped up and there was an article about it, and it said this Millennium's Wing Commander, and I was like, what the fuck are they talking about? And I started reading about it. I was like, holy shit, how have I not heard about this? So
I could tell you all about it.
I know.
At least until 2 years ago when I just kind of like, you know what? I'm tired of playing this alpha over and over again. It's like, I go back to where you couldn't even you had your hangar with your first pledge ship in it, and that's all you could do. You could just walk around your ship. I mean, that's how far back I go into it. But I mean, I'm generally interested in it, and like I said, I have given them so much money over the years. But 2 years ago, I just kind of dropped off because it's like, you know what? I am just frustrated as fuck, and I'm going to wait for the game to be released. And by the time it's released, my Twitch reflexes are going to be such garbage. I actually went out and bought a pretty good HOTAS system for it, and my Twitch reflexes are going to be so jacked up, I'm just going to be a cargo pilot. That's it. Because in the MMO, do whatever the fuck you want.
Nice.
Just if you just want to ferry, beer between Earth and Mars, that's your thing. Go for it.
See, I kind of like the ones that are sandbox more than amusement parks kind of thing, where you can kind of go and do whatever you want. That was one of the...
Yeah, that would piss me off with Knights of the Old Republic, the MMO version, because even the space flight was on rails.
Dude, that really did piss me off. I'm not even going to lie. I mean, I get why they did it the way they did it, because it was like reenacting, the whole, space gunner bullshit. But I'm just like, can I just, actually fly my ship? That would be awesome.
Yeah. Rather than this cut screen every time I go between planets, can I just do it myself?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I loved that game when it first came out. But I think it was because I had already, played like on Xbox and shit. The one with Revan and stuff. I really, really dug that one. Even more than the MMO version. It's been a while since I played it. Apparently, they've made a bunch of changes. But I don't know. Once everything went from you don't really have to subscribe anymore, but to do anything you have to buy all this extra shit. I was like, you know what, I'm out.
Yeah, there's a whole fucking microtransaction thing killed gaming.
And
I blame EA.
It's like that with everything. Like, I have a couple of games I like to play on my phone, and then you get to a point where it's like, okay, you're not getting any further unless you give us some fucking money. All right, so I ain't playing this fucking game anymore.
Right.
I mean, I get it. I'm a capitalist. I want to make money from everything I fucking do, but it ain't gotta be like that. I'm just saying. Oh my god. I just saw the breaking on that. So, 22 confirmed dead with 80 others injured. Suspect still at large. Wow. It's the end of the world. And you know it. Oh, sorry. Alright, so any other final thoughts? We've officially hit the hour mark, so I think we've given them their money's worth.
I'm fucking tired.
Right?
I'm just tired, man. I'm just tired. You just fucking mock everything. That's my advice. Just mock the fuck out of everything. Don't let it get to you. Just mock it, because credo qui absurdum.
Oh, I love it when you speak Latin. Wait, did that sound too much like Mr. Adams?
Yeah.
Okay. I won't do that again. All right, we're going to get out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Don't forget, back tomorrow night doing whatever, and then also Jen and Rick, and then we have Rocktober, and I don't know where you are this week, or if you are. I think you were last week, weren't you? Other than Jux, I think.
Yeah. So, no, yeah. Well, Friday night we may be trying to do the Halloween thing.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. We are going to try to recycle that because it didn't work out. I forgot.
Yeah. So. And then Saturday, yeah, we're back on Juxtober, and that's it. That's for me this week.
All right. Well, I'm going to get out of here, go see if I can figure out what else is going on with the news, and see if there's any late night content I can put out before I go to bed. We're going to get out of here. Bye, everybody. If you don't know where to find us by now, are you new here? Just saying. Bye, everybody.
Where you been? Thanks, everyone. You were great. No, thanks.
Send lawyers, guns, and money.